Morning, ladies and gents. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 qualifying questions that make or break a sale with Jake Rotterman.
What's going on, guys? Jonah, how many times are you in a sale, right? When you're in the beginning and, you kind of just ask the question, they just don't really seem into it, right? They're like, and you just keep going along. And then you go in and you keep going through and you get to the financial inventory. And then they're like, Jonah, why do you need all this information anyways? You know what, dude? I'm not even gonna do this, and then hang up on you. How many times have you gone through that?
So many,
right? How do we avoid that? We avoid that by what's called qualifying questions.
Not wasting your time.
Not wasting your time, right? Conserving that energy, which is so huge. First one, in the very beginning, I see countless agents going through, go ahead and grab pen and paper for me, write down my details, and the person's just like, why? and you're stuck on that, and you're like, well, shoot, and you got a battle, right? So how can we avoid that? There's a qualifying question in there, and it goes something like this. I want you guys to take this as a word track here. Is, now, John, I'm assuming when you had initially closed on the home, right, you were looking for something that would pay it off for any financial burden if anything were to happen to you. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Right. What that's doing is that's initiating the client. If you don't get a yes to that, you don't move forward, right? This isn't like some sort of hidden sale where you can kind of get around it, and at the very end, they're just like, oh, okay, we'll get it, right?
Like, how many agents think that too?
Right.
Or they don't even think, they just hope and pray. They hope and pray like, oh, if I just keep going, they'll hopefully buy. It just never happens.
It's like, dude, they have to understand what it is. They have to understand why they need it, and it has to have value. Right? Mm-hmm. So first question, if you don't get a yes to that, do not move on and continue to cycle. Mm-hmm. Second question, right? I asked this about end of the financial inventory. And if I don't get a yes to this, right, I stop and I cycle back. Second question is, now, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but if God forbid you were to pass away, what would that situation look like financially for your family? I'm assuming that'd be pretty tough. Right?
Yeah, that'd be hard.
All right. Now, if you were to give me, the kids would probably just make those payments, right? They're rich, they're doctors, right? How many times have you gotten something like that?
A lot,
right? But how many times has an individual that you've seen, especially newer in the industry, gotten that at the very end?
A lot.
The best people at sales that I've seen and that I've been mentored and helped by is if you can avoid the objection early on and make sure you add value in those gaps to make sure when you're at the very end, you're not having to battle. So second one, again, right, is making sure you're adding that value and making sure it would be a tough situation financially, or if not, seeing where you can input the value, right? Third question is, very last one, and I do not move into numbers unless I get a yes to this, okay? It's pretty simple. John, Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I were to, find something that was comfortable and affordable for you guys, that would, completely avoid that situation with your family in the bank, I'm assuming that would be pretty important to you. Does that sound about right?
Yes, that would be.
Right. People love that, comfortable and affordable. Right? If I don't get a yes to that, I'm recycling back. Oh no, we want to go ahead and think about this, or we want to, maybe honestly, Jake, we probably just don't want to go through with it. Whatever it is, you're able to get that, so you're not going through numbers and then getting some sort of objection.
Cut your ties right there. I want to point out 2 things. First of all, I'm sure anybody watching this if you've watched the Universal Training, you've heard this at least 10 times. But one of my favorite quotes is, we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught.
Yeah.
So I want to point out your tonality on that, because, guys, it is, what you're saying is only 20% of it. The other 80% is on how you're saying it. So your tone when you're asking those questions is very cool, calm, confident, and collected. So pay attention to that. Secondly, dude, it's exhausting when you go through a full presentation. How do you feel after you've presented 5 to 6 times that day? You got 5-6 presentations, you're at the end of your night, it's 10 o'clock at night, you want to eat done for bed. How do you feel?
I'm brain dead.
Yeah, you're exhausted. You are exhausted. It's exhausting because sales is a transfer of energy if you're doing it properly.
Right.
So you should, like, dude, once you get to the end of it, if you did your job right, you should be tired, because you, like, if you're doing what you're supposed to do, like, you're putting it all on the line. Like, you're building the why, you're building the emotion, you're connecting with the client. All these different things should drain you. So make sure that you're protecting that energy, and you're only dedicating that energy towards people that are actually serious and actually need our help.
100%, bro. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Guys, if you found this valuable, please like, subscribe, and share with someone else that would take value from this. Keep striving.